Today was a very thematic onomatopoeias in the beginning of the top of the show.
Yeah, well, thematic.
Yeah, thematic. Yeah, it's more. That's not the word I was looking for. Dramatic, maybe. Dramatic and thematic, because it is on the ocean. It is an ocean-bearing show.
I want to combine those two words into one, but I don't think you can. The TH and the D sound. They're dramatic. They're dramatic. Dramatic. Yeah. Dramatic is what I'm going for.
We took it. Because that's what we do here at the Grand Line Tourist Podcast. We put words together, and we put them into sentences and long strings of thoughts, all to convey different ideas about Eiichiro Oda's One Piece. Look at that. I'm switching it up. Yes. Because that's what we are, folks. We are the Grand Line Tourist Podcast, a chapter-by-chapter examining or re-examining, depending on your relationship with One Piece, of Eiichiro Oda's masterpiece, the One Piece manga. That's what we are. That's where we at. That's what we're doing. We're getting better and better after 69 chapters. Yeah. We are getting better at this intro, I feel like, Jacob.
No, for sure. I mean, today we basically described how conversation works as our intro. So, I mean, clearly we're getting somewhere. We've learned that's what we do. We put words into sentences. We talk them to each other. I like it. But I just think we need to let the listeners out there know who we are. I am not doing a re-examining. I'm doing an initial examining for the first time as your tourist, Jacob. And across from the internet, doing all the introductions today is none other than our tour guide, Eric.
Yes, Eric Sivu of the Vu clan, coming out here trying to get you all to understand a little bit more about yourself while understanding the world of One Piece. And that's what this chapter is, chapter 69. Which I did not... Is it called Arlong? What's it called?
Arlong
Park.
Yeah, Arlong Park.
Yeah.
Arlong Park to start our new arc-long Stark trek into this area of One Piece. Couldn't quite land it there, but you know what I'm talking about.
It's been a little while. I would say we did take a little bit of a break, so we're shaking off some rust here, I think, coming back and recording.
Yeah.
But this is the start of a very good arc that we're super excited to jump into. I know we have a few letters from listeners who are just as excited that we're starting this. So starting this.
Got some letters at port here today. Mm-hmm. A few of them are going to show up in our panel battle, so get excited for that. But I did want to call out. I just was looking at our subscriber numbers on YouTube, and they are slowly but surely going up. I don't know how to say the name, but Guri has subscribed to us on YouTube. So I like calling. The last time I think I called out somebody who subscribed on YouTube, they wound up writing into the podcast. So I'm calling someone else out, seeing if we get another write-in in that sort of fashion. Be very exciting. So at least I know I'm not uploading these videos for nothing, because it does take longer to render a video than it does to render the audio file. So I'm glad at least some people are listening to the podcast there. I also wanted to mention, as a part of a new job that I won't disclose, I have found that there are students in high school that care about Luffy still. They were showing up in some drawings that were submitted. I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like, I know you wanted to introduce this to me because this mattered to you when you were growing up. And so I didn't know how much cultural cachet, One Piece was still carrying around with, kids in high school, kids in junior high. I wasn't totally sure.
With these Gen Zers.
With the millennials. With all these names that I've never really bothered to learn. Millennials. Because the year 2000.
Yeah.
Some interesting revelations today, folks. But that said,
I think you and I are actually millennials. What's the newest? These kids are Gen Zers?
I think so.
Yeah.
Millennials at least had it kind of tied to the year. I don't know if Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, does the XYZ mean anything? It honestly doesn't matter as long as we all love One Piece. That's what I'm learning. That it's still around.
True. One Piece is the one thing that ties us all together. Because Eiichiro Oda he's not a boomer. He's whatever the 40-year-olds are considered.
But that said, there's actually another reason that One Piece is currently having a cultural moment, and I heard you went out and actually took in.
Did you? I don't know if you watched this, and to all the tourists and tour guides out there, check it out. There is a video of One Piece Red, which is the movie that I'm going to talk about because I did get to watch it this week. They took over Times Square. Did you see this video? It was super cool. Yeah, they took over all of it, and it was a cool little video to watch them just One Piece posters take over all of the screens of Times Square.
That is amazing.
Yeah. overall thoughts about the movie. The movie's very good. If you, especially for up-to-date tour guides, it's like
Aww.
such a fan. I know. I'm sorry, Jacob. It just the other day you were asking me if you should go watch it, and I was like, you can, but you're not gonna know a lot of things.
It was showing like in IMAX. It was like I feel like it actually was getting like sold out screenings at the movie theaters around me. So I was like, I'm missing out. I'm missing out, and I'm into this thing.
I think it's just it wouldn't hit the same for you until you recognize all, because there's like years and years of characters in it, which I didn't know this movie was gonna do. Yeah, there's so many characters in it to the point where I'm like, man, this is like almost 20 plus years of characters that are in this, because the movie's
is this bigger than Endgame? Is this like the Oda cinematic universe here?
It kind of is. It is the One Piece cinematic universe kind of crashing down for one movie. Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
Because it's about Shanks. So Shanks obviously shows up in this. So you like that.
Shanks.
That's a cool little payoff to see Shanks comes out. But there are certain characters in the Navy that pop up. I was like, oh, I guess this is happening. There are like recent arc villains that show up. So it's one of those things where this is a very interesting thing. But I do think you would enjoy this movie because this movie is a lot about music. It's tied into yeah. So the lead character, this isn't a spoiler, but the lead the new character they introduce is Shanks' like daughter, and she's a musician. Like she's a play off of like a Japanese idol or yeah, so she's like an idol singer sort of deal. So there's a lot of music things into it, and also this is my big brain tour guide thoughts putting into it, and maybe interjecting too much meaning to it. It's also a little bit like a siren, like a siren's call of a movie. Like that's what she kind of acts like she's a siren calling all these different entities to one place.
Well, so if I was to go into the theater and see this, I may not get everything, but would I be spoiling myself for elements of stuff that in a way that wouldn't be ideal?
Yeah, you would be, because
I'm holding back. You know, like a musical One Piece movie in theaters. I'm not gonna be able to see this in theaters again. That's
also the same reason why we can't, if we ever play the One Piece TCG, why we can't play it, because you have to make me a special nerfed deck. Yeah, the Luffy deck has every single like current crew member and new crew members that you don't know yet.
I can't. I need to be able to make tinfoil hat predictions without being, misguided by playing cards. So
I know, and like the oldest of this whole podcast, this whole idea is that you don't, because you're so new to manga and anime in general, you like the absurdity of what's happening. You kind of. Yeah, we can't have it. We just can't have you do it.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I'm making a sacrifice for all you out there. Let it be known.
Yeah, but I will throw this out to any tour guides or tourists who ended up watching this movie. Write in. Let us know, man. Let us know how you liked it. At least let me know. You can say, Jacob, don't read this in the subject line. Or just say, like, One Piece read.
That'll make me feel real special and happy when I see it. I'll be like, oh, great. Another one. Forward to Eric.
But yeah, dude, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this movie. I thought this movie was fun. I wasn't super into it in the beginning, but it's like a One Piece arc condensed into like an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is great.
Wow. All right.
Very focused.
Well, let's get off the sad topic of media that I can't enjoy, and let's get into the meat of today's episode. I'd say the meat and potatoes. All right. We're going to be covering Chapter 69, Arlong Park, and
Arlong Park.
I'm still a bit depressed from my inability to absorb the current and most popular One Piece media, so I'm going to make you just deliver the itinerary. Let me know what's going on today.
Luffy is excited about getting Nami back and heading straight to the Grand Line. He is so excited about that as they slowly float towards wherever Yusaku thinks they need to go to get Nami back, right? Yusaku feels like Luffy and Sanji are not taking the Grand Line seriously enough. And he tells him, like, there's a reason why the Grand Line's called the Pirate's Graveyard, and it's because of this reason, which I'm glad he labels and says out loud. Apparently, the Grand Line, that strip of the ocean, which is already very dangerous and all that stuff, is really controlled by 3 overwhelming powers. One of them, they don't say it, but the one that he does end up talking about is, and this is a really cool word and very cool phrase, the 7 warlords of the sea. That's one of this entity of power in the Grand Line that makes it very difficult to even exist in that strip of the ocean, right? And the 7 warlords of the sea are government-recognized pirate rulers, essentially. Like, pirates on government payroll. Or, Yeah, I mean, they're paying the government to exist, really. But
I fought the law and paid them off.
Right, exactly. And they get to exist and rule over specific areas of the Grand Line while just paying to the government to do their thing, right? So they get to police this little area and kind of control that area. Lo and behold, Jacob, who we already met one of the warlords.
Yes, we met Mihawk.
Yeah, dude. And
goodness. And I mean, this is where Luffy, I mean, seven of these things?
Yeah, like, 6 more of these guys. Yeah. Which is great. Another one that Yusaku mentions by name is a warlord called Jinbei, who is a fish man of all things, right? So this fish man, new exciting. First off, literally a new race being introduced into the world of One Piece, which is this race of fish people. Little fish people that we will get to see what they look like, but it was a fun little thing here where we they're not mermaids, right? They're not naming the mermaids. They're called fishmen. So you're like, what does that look like? Anyways, Jinbei became one of the warlords of this, one of the 7 warlords because he released something into the East Blue that was terrible and terrorizing. I assume it's this next person is Arlong.
Oh wait, so you think the thing that was released was Arlong?
I think so. I think that's what they're alluding to. I don't remember.
Okay, don't remember. Look at you saying making predictions. Get your tinfoil hat off that head. You don't get to have a tinfoil hat.
That's true. I don't get to have my tinfoil times are reserved to how Oda's gonna end this series in the next 3 years.
Yeah, you could have made predictions about what's gonna happen in Shanks, but you missed your chance in the movie Red. But you didn't do that on the last episode we had. So sorry.
Yes,
no, nothing
fair.
For you.
We jump to Arlong Park, and we see the man himself. We see Arlong paying off a member of the Navy. This guy, Captain Nezumi, who looks like a mouse, and he kind of laughs like a mouse. So, or a rat. What do you think? More rat or more mouse-like?
It's weird because originally I thought that was just Wait, so are those that character's ears?
I think that's a sweater, though. I think he's a little bit.
Okay, that's what I thought. This isn't like the situation with one of the members of it was Buggy's crew, right? That had like a character that had some ears, like actually that looked like they were attached.
Yeah.
But yeah. I would say I'm getting mouse vibes. I think the face is mouse vibes.
You little mousy. So now we get to see what fish people look like. The fishmen are literal ocean creatures that are humanoids, like humanoid representation of ocean creatures, which is fun. Arlong himself is like a sawtooth. I think like a sawtooth shark, kind of, right?
Well, he's got the big nose. I guess. You definitely look sharkish. I take the sharkish. Sharkish looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about it. We'll jump into that in a little bit. But overall, yes. So fishermen, that's what they look like. He's paying off the Navy, which already, again, we know by this point, the world of One Piece is shades of gray. So obviously, there are Navy people taking bribes. As we just learned from Yusaku about the 7 warlords, this is the same situation it feels like here. Arlong's allowed to stay around this area because he pays the Navy, it seems like, right?
Yeah.
The Navy's not going to come down on him. Later on, we get introduced to a bunch of fishermen, which we'll go over in the discussion section. But right outside, we see Nami approaching Arlong Park, and which is where obviously Arlong is hanging out. And there's a boy there, and the boy runs behind Nami, is like, "You need to get out of the way. I am gonna go fight Arlong because he murdered my father." And what does Nami do to this kid, Jacob?
Gives him a wallop.
Yeah.
And is it it's a stick wallop, right?
Yeah.
It's a good whack with a stick.
Yeah. It's a big whack with the stick.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. She, almost zero warning. Just take the end of my staff, kid. And yeah, so it's to knock him down, and then she just tells him that tells this kid that you need to. He's not Arlong's not gonna blink an eye to you, and then she dumps some money at his face and tells him to go home. Essentially, take this money, do something good with it, go home. And then she walks into Arlong Park. So this is obviously many things that are very different from the Nami that we know. She walks in and she talks so casually to Arlong, and Arlong's excited. And at that moment, Arlong says, announces to the fish, like all his pirates, his crewmates. He's like, "We all need to celebrate tonight because one of our own is back." And at that point, we get the reveal of the tattoo that Nami has on her upper left arm. And
Indeed.
we get a new nameplate, dude. We get a nameplate, and it says
Officer Nami, Arlong's pirate crew. Ugh.
And that's it. That's the reveal, dude. That's the reveal. And now it all makes sense why she never committed to Luffy, why she never wanted to do any of that stuff. Because she's a taken
triple agent. No. Because she's a clone. Clearly, this isn't the Nami we know. This is a clone of Nami that has signed up for...
This is her evil twin. It has to be.
Evil twin. It has to be. There's no way. Not the Nami that I know.
I know that we get the privilege of living in the future, but could you imagine when this came out the first time? I think if you were just like a week-by-week reader back in, I don't know, 2002 or 3 or whatever when this came out, it must have been so shocking to be like, what the heck?
Well, I mean, when you say coming from the future, I mean, like, you're coming from the future, but I'm in the future pretending to live in the past. It was shocking.
Oh, great.
I think... Yeah, I know, because what happened to me, the interaction that was confusing was the interaction with the little boy, because I thought that... originally I thought Nami was trying to get in, and I thought the little boy was like trying to stop her from getting in. I was like, wait a second, no, that's not what's happening here. This is the other way around. And I was like, oh no. Goodness gracious.
So let's save that big one.
Yeah.
The Nami thing is a big reveal that we'll have to talk about for sure.
Indeed.
Let's start with the other things. I wrote down a note because we were talking before recording about these fun little like start of arcs, and I think what is becoming more and more of a pattern is that every time we finish a big arc, the start, like episode 1 or chapter 1 of the next arc, is always an opportunity Oda takes to expand the world just a little bit more. And here are some things that he expanded on for sure. So let's start off with this idea of one, there are 3 ruling powers in the Grand Line. We know one of them is the 7 warlords. Do you have a guess? Do you have a tinfoil guess about what the other 2 are?
So we got the 7 warlords, and we like, my tinfoil guess. I feel like if the they're hired by the Navy, so it feels like the Navy's letting this happen, right?
Yes.
So I don't think the Navy is another power, right? Because the Navy is letting the taking care of the seas be from these 7 warlords. I wouldn't say it's them. I feel like that would be, unless they could kind of be considered in tandem, and maybe that would make them number 2. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's just the 7 warlords of the sea, and I feel like if I'm just gonna have to really make up a second one just to throw it out there because, if I get it right, then I'll feel really good in the future. It's got to be something in the water. I'm gonna go with someone's patrolling above the water, but there's definitely no. Well, because we just learned about this whole new race of creatures that is like fish people. Can they go in the water? Are they like living underwater? I'm gonna go with large sea creatures. There are some large sea creatures that also.
There are, like, actually, yeah. That's the what are they called? Luffy had one. Remember, there's a big sea creature at his island that he beat up.
Yeah.
That ate shakes his arm.
So my prediction here is that there is some sort of, I don't know if it's like a generalized, maybe one gigantic creature in certain areas. Maybe like each part of the sea, just like the above is owned by these 7 warlords. There's a part below owned by a variety of like sea creatures in different areas. That's my prediction.
I love it. I'm writing it down, but as I write it down, give me your thoughts on this idea of like these 7 warlords. This whole premise of it. How'd you feel?
I think I enjoy, like you mentioned, the start of these arc chapters, expanding the world. I think I always like these chapters because not only like I think the first part there's 3 great powers that rule the waters. One of these powers is the 7 warlords of the sea. I think that part I could roll my eyes at. I'm like, sure. There's always more powers. We need more people to fight. We need more things to do in this world, right? And so that alone doesn't get me too excited, right? What gets me excited is, and they work with the Navy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what feels like more interesting world building, because like now all of a sudden I can make predictions about interactions. I could think about little boy Kobe just being more and more disappointed about the corruption in the world. It's really fun to think about that stuff. Similar to how the Bratier was just a fun idea to think about.
Yeah.
You know, of like, oh, there's restaurants, people want to eat and they want to eat well, and then this restaurant was staffed by pirates. Like, so it's not so much interesting, oh, there's more big bads or more, you know, powers in this world. It's interesting how those powers are set up to interact with things we already know, right?
Yeah.
So the Grand Line, this foggy thing is coming into shape, right? There are warlords on it. They interact with the Navy.
Yeah.
You know, we have our East Blue. We have other oceans. And
we have we have a power measurement via Mihawk, right? Like, it's
yeah.
It's really freaking cool to be... while listening to you talk, like with your thoughts there, what was sticking out to me is that Oda's very good with his foreshadows. He has a way of creating foreshadows that marry the foreshadow. Here's the foreshadow thing I want to here's the thing I want to foreshadow, and now I'm gonna marry it with ideas and logics that the readers already know and understand, and it tickles your brain in such a fun way. And like, oh yeah, I want to know more about that. It draws me in, you know.
No, it's fun because I think there's different types of tickly foreshadows for depending on what type of reader you are, right? Like for me, the power level comparison tickle foreshadows aren't the most interesting foreshadows. For me, that's another example of we need to have more people to fight, and there needs to be different aspects about them that are interesting, and it's just going to have to happen, right? The fact that Mihawk is in this comparison is cool, just to connect it to what we know and get a feel, but I mean, we're not that far in this journey, right, along One Piece.
Yeah.
I think at some point the comparisons, they're not going to become meaningless, but they're just to drive the story, right? You know what I mean? They're to connect things and to give you an idea of power, but I don't think 50, 100, 500 chapters from now, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, and I understand how this compares to Mihawk, relative to all the other things. Maybe I will. Maybe this hierarchy will be in a way where it is a very attentive to detail one, but I'm more interested, to me, it strikes me as, we got to connect, and powers need to be increasing in some dimension. Right. But like I said, I really like the more logical structured, how does this world work, paying off government pirates to steal from other pirates, right? To steal from other pirates.
It's essentially, these 7 warlords are doing the Navy's job for them in some capacity, which is you do fire with fire. Like, I rather have this evil that I know deal with the evils that I don't know. All right? And and do what it is. I have a real world example of this. Yeah. And this is really dark.
Are you involved in it?
No.
Do you pay off some government officials?
This is a little dark.
Okay, we're going to stop the recording for a minute because me and Eric need to talk about our criminal activities for a minute.
Say, what was that? Sorry.
We're going to stop the recording for a minute. Me and Eric need to talk about our criminal activities, and then we'll be right back. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Let me know what's going on.
It happened there was a documentary way back when called The Act of Killing, and it was about some of the crimes that happened during the Khmer Rouge takeover in Cambodia.
Oh.
And that government hired gangsters at a street level to go and kill certain members of the just do a lot of their dirty work. That's what this kind of feels like, where it feels very much like the government is hiring these specific pirates that are done to do pirate things, but we need you to do the pirate things, but we don't want to put our fingerprints on it. Just pay us, and we'll just say that you're doing it. All right, and that's...
No, it seems really smart, because I don't know if the Navy uses the Grand Line. You know what we're actually missing a little bit, which maybe we'll get connections to in the future, is how this all relates to the average person who lives inside the world of One Piece, right? We have a lot how this relates to the big powers, but when it comes down to the townspeople, in Orange Town or something, right? We don't know, what does this mean for them, right? The fact that there's these 7 big warlords on the Grand Line, does that mean that you can't ship stuff, to certain areas? I'm not totally sure yet, but it'll be cool to see how different stuff gets fleshed out. Yeah. Or maybe it is all just these big bads. Maybe no one really cares about the Grand Line except for the big bad powers. Maybe it's not a big deal for the regular folks. The only reason why the
Grand Line's even on people's radar is because they know that One Piece is on there somewhere.
Yeah, so it's just this is like playing the lottery, right? Well, that's a bad example. Lots of people play the lottery.
It's true. And this is like playing the lottery if you could die trying to get a ticket.
Yeah, this is some Russian roulette lottery thing. That's pretty crazy, right? Not a lot of people play Russian roulette, but those that do, they might win some money.
Yeah, so
very,
that's
very
the Seven
interesting.
Warlords. We got to talk about fish people. We got to talk about fishmen. How are you surprised by these looks? Just to break down something, because we said it already. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, no, so like it's funny that you mentioned the fish people, because I think our first fish person, right, which I think I would say is Arlong, right? Sawtooth Arlong, captain of Arlong's pirates, right? Very humanoid. You know what I mean? My initial thought was, oh, this is just somebody with a different nose, kind of like oh gosh, oh no, kind of like Usopp. I was like, this is just a Usopp with a more distinctive nose and a very, but that is not the case. I was wrong. This is a fish person. The thing I didn't quite clue in on, there are gills on this fish person's neck that I should have taken in right away. But yeah, no, they're very, very humanoid ultimately, but also pretty wild looking. Like, I guess they have there's like a fish beanie fuzzy thing on the top of the head. Arlong's got quite a look.
Yeah, what a design, huh? What do you think of his design as a character design overall for his nameplate panel?
I think Arlong doesn't look super duper intimidating. He looks kind of cool. He's got this. Oh, how many toes does he have? Oh my goodness, I never counted it. I think he might have 5, but like you can't see them all in the main splash. Yeah, he kind of strikes me as like the drug lord you want to be friends with. I don't know.
Yeah, he gives off that vibe. He gives off that like cool beach drug lord vibe, but also he kind of has some Joker vibes. So like he's kind of drawn with like the smile they gave him looks very Joker like. So it's like, oh, he could be crazy.
Okay. No. Like I actually was not getting that reading. It'll probably come through a little bit with more interactions in the chapter, because right now I don't know. Like, we don't have anything. Arlong doesn't go on like any and just honestly do too much in this chapter, right? Besides welcome Nami and say goodbye to the person he was paying off, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, I missed it in the itinerary, but we know that he has a bounty, right? Like, we know he has a bounty because.
Yeah, we missed a little bit of the idea that the reason Yosaku and Johnny kind of knew what was going on is because they saw earlier on we saw Nami staring at some wanted poster. We didn't at the time. Did that wanted poster back in the chapter actually have?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So you could.
If you go back and look at it,
there.
Right before Full Body shoots them, she's looking at it.
No, but can you see you see Arlong's silhouette? It wasn't. Sometimes. I don't know. These are pre-produced weekly. Maybe, there's some details to be fleshed out. Oda could have left it in a silhouette that was more vague, right? And then you only get revealed later. But it was actually Arlong's silhouette.
I believe it is, and we'll double check. We'll have to double check off recording, off mic to see if I'm right. But I'm sure. I think I saw it because I remember being like, "Oh, I could see him," and I get it.
You just want to believe in the genius, Eric.
I do.
But you don't want to check, do you? No, I'm just kidding.
Before we move off of Fishman, what do you think the two people behind them are? Because we know now the pattern is some sort of sea creature, humanoid looking. So the two guys behind him on his nameplate panel, what do you think they are?
So wait, you're saying like make a prediction about their actual creature that they represent, right?
Yeah.
The one on the left's got the big lips. Guppy fish? Is it Guppy got lips like that? I'm going with Guppy for the one on the left, but the Guppy's not big though, so I don't know. That could be a little bit off. The one on the right is eating something. Is it an apple? The one on the right, it's got the other distinctive thing is the two upward tied bits of hair and what looks like the one on the right I don't have read on. And I guess as a tour guide, do you actually know what the one on the right's supposed to be?
I do. And I think it's more fun. I was going to tell you, but I think it's more fun for you to see the reveal later on.
Yeah, let it reveal. On the right, you know what? I'm going to have to tinfoil hat. I'll go with Guppy on the left and put my tinfoil hat down for the one on the right. I want to let that reveal be revealed to me naturally.
Okay. Yeah, I'll write that down. But what about Hachi? What do you think Hachi is?
Now, I think I missed okay, there we go. It was weird. I think I was so enveloped in the splash of Hachi that I actually forgot to like read the nameplate saying that was Hachi. Hachi, definitely we're talking those are suckers. We're dealing with like some sort of there's octopus and there's squids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's a way to tell the difference between the two. I guess it would be like counting maybe the number of limbs, but I'm going to go with some sort of octopus squid creature.
Isn't he?
I mean, getting the octopus pot, right? I don't know. It feels like
right. That kind of makes it go. Maybe he is an octopus.
Yeah. No, it's got to be. We got the suckers. We're dealing with a classic octopus-like character there.
I love this splash panel of him. His nameplate. He looks so. It's so good. It's so One Piece.
Oh yeah, no, I like the mouth. The mouth is the interesting thing about that character. You know what? But if you just look at the eyes on Hachi alone and kind of cover up the mouth, it starts to look real weird.
Yeah. Here's an interesting little detail. They need to be taxied back to their boat.
Yeah. You know, that was a detail I didn't quite completely.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand the logistics of it yet, right? And I actually don't think I understand the logistics of Arlong Park.
Yeah.
I know we get a splash of it, which I just upon like review, I actually see a lot of water, you know, leading up to it. Which originally I thought was just like dirt. I thought it was like the walkway leading up to it. But so no, this Arlong Park is some sort of like half floating city. So maybe to get out, you have to like you get in this pot and the pot goes. We don't see what happens to the pot. Like, oh wait, do we? Do we see where the pot winds up going? Get in the pot. I don't know if they show it going underwater or like. I don't have a good read on.
It's so interesting to introduce it that early of this idea of like, they have to be taxied. So I don't remember how they pay it off, but I do know it's important. Like that's obviously
cool.
Why put in the detail? Why put in the octopus pot at all? Right?
Hey, because it's an octopus pot, Eric. Why put a bunch of random combinations of animals on the covers of your, every single issue of your manga? Because it's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the big thing. This Nami reveal, huh? Like, I love what you're talking about. What you're surprised by all of it, but you were very genuinely surprised by this turn.
Yeah, like I didn't think. You know what? No, because I think maybe this turn. I guess I think I've lost track because Nami's story has been stretched so far now that I'm like there's probably the little moments that would let me know what she's thinking. I don't think I fully understand now because I feel like I vaguely have some memories of her like looking sad leaving Luffy or like thinking about saying something about some other character they cared about or something. I have some vague feelings that whether we think of Nami as a pure traitor or like a pure officer, I feel like there are motives to Officer Nami, Arlong's pirate crew that are still a little bit of a mystery to me. You know what I mean? I don't think it's so black and white as she's just the officer of this pirate crew.
Yeah.
There's something going on here. Like either she's in it to double cross Arlong as well, or like, there's something going on here that is more than just that she's a member of the pirate crew, but still it does not take away from, I mean, she's got the tattoo.
Yeah.
This is a long going thing. It doesn't look like she's a fish person, but maybe she's like part fish person raised. I don't know. No, but I'm sticking with, we don't know the motives completely. But yes, she's fully in it, right? And that was the surprising thing. Fully in it enough to get a splash panel. And I mean not a splash panel, but a nameplate panel.
A nameplate, yeah. It's just so when she smacks this kid, I didn't think about it until you mentioned it, where like right before she smacks him, there's this quick little panel of her stare, right?
Yeah.
And like I feel like this one panel of this stare can be dissected in so many different ways. Like the first one, like you said, was maybe because we didn't know what her motives were at this point before she smacks the kid. It could have been like, oh, get out of my way, kid, I'm gonna go first. But really, like after we see the hit, you kind of landed on, oh, she's like telling the kid to, like, this is my pirate crew kind of sort of deal. I kind of look at it because I know the story or like I know where it's going. It that one stare could kind of break down so many unique perspectives happening at once.
Oh, yeah. Well, and just, I mean, there's definitely an obvious read for, like, she's protecting the kid a little bit, right? Like, hey, get out of here, kid. This is above your, there's no way you're getting in there and hurting anybody. It's only going to hurt yourself. Take some money and run. You know what I mean? That, like, so we already, even still, in the moment where Nami, she's not, like, we don't have a good vibe for, Arlong. No, Arlong's the place. So we don't, wait, it's Arlong's Park. Park and Arlong, right?
Yep.
Okay, so they are the same name. We don't have a good vibe for his crew culture yet. We don't know, like maybe Nami is protecting him from being like recruited. I don't know quite what's going on there, right? But or maybe not at all. Maybe this is just her saying, we don't have time to mess around with kids. But one thing that I thought of, there was a scene a long time ago with Osako and Johnny, and Nami was changing clothes, and I was a little bit more like, what's the point of this scene? Yada yada. But now it makes a little bit more sense, right? She has this tattoo she can't show.
Oh, that's a very good thought.
Yeah, no, because, like, well, originally it's kind of just, like, I don't know. It honestly reads a little bit like there's always some weird scene in a movie where there's, like, oh, we're going to look at the lady as she changes, and I'm just like, oh, great, we have that too. But in this, it actually is a bit more purposeful than you later on wind up realizing, because she can't have them. I think they would have definitely recognized Arlong's crest, right? And so they would have said, hey,
because Johnny and Yusako currently in this story just exposition dump. Like, they just know everything. They know so much more information than our main characters.
Yeah, and I think there was some talk about, just a kind of like a recap of where everybody is and how we got here.
Yeah.
We got Luffy, we got Zoro, we got Usopp, right? They're all on the crew together. We also have Sanji on the crew together, right? That makes 4, right?
Yep.
And then are they saying 5 because when we get Nami, that'll be the 5th, right?
Yep.
When we get Nami back. Oh, okay. And so Yusaku and Johnny not considered part of the crew, but definitely important for getting our people to and from some key locations that they need to be at.
They just know so much more. And, like, so that's why I love the fact that you pointed out something. Like, yeah, they would definitely know what this crest is, because at this moment of the story, they know everything. They're no different from Cerebro in X-Men, right? Like, all of a sudden, like, they just have all this information that that Luffy, that we're learning at the same time as Luffy and the other crew members as readers, right? It's just so funny.
Yeah. And the way this all got kicked off, right, was I think it was Yosaku comes back on the fish, right? And or Johnny. I mean, but and then how do we pick up Johnny again? Then just somewhere along the way we pick him up, I think, right? Or, like, I don't know if he.
I think what happened was they sent Yusaku back when they confirmed that they are going to Arlong Park, because at that moment both Johnny and Yusaku knew, like, we can't do this without Luffy.
Gotcha. And wait, Yosaku and Johnny had gone on that little journey with somebody else, right? Or was it just them two?
Yeah, because remember when they took off, right after, because they dove into the water to pick up Zoro after Mihawk slashed him. And then that's when Luffy's like, Usopp, you guys just need to go and chase after them. So they took Johnny and Yusaku's boat and went after the.
Got it. No, very cool. Yeah, it's just because it's very interesting to kind of, like, our mind is living in a couple different places with storylines, right? We just got off the Baratier, but now these other storylines are kind of all coming back. So good. I feel like I think we've hit them all. We've recapped it back into a good place.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about some jokes? Because there were some jokes in this one. We're not all
definitely
violence and anger anymore. We're in some.
No. This is I like these exposition dump chapters. You get a lot of good fun. In particular, I actually the beginning of this chapter is chapter 69 Arlong Park, and right underneath those words is, like, a whole Christmas spread that I just found was hilarious, especially with Usopp, the long-nosed front reindeer, leading the sleigh. I don't know if you caught that there.
That's great. Yeah, that's a good little thing. We haven't finished our cover story's not done yet, huh? Or is it?
I wouldn't know. Wait, whoa! You don't spoil it for me. I don't know if we have a billion covers. That might have been it. That could have been
Well, what was the last thing we ended on? We ended on.
It's a good question. It would have been.
No, I think we ended on them getting cooked.
Is it chapter 68? Cover story. After the battle, suspicious parts.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not done with that yet. It's still mid.
Oh, yeah, they're all in the pot. Yeah, well, who knows? Maybe this is it. Maybe it's like 100 chapters, and then it continues again.
Oh, yeah, what if that's it? What if that's just the end of the cover? Like, Udo was just done. I don't want to do this
anymore. No, or it's done because they got cooked. They got eaten. What are you talking about? Nom.
Yeah, I love this. This is great. I didn't even really look at this cool little Christmas spread. 'Tis the season, man. 'Tis the season.
Yeah, we're coming up on it. But okay, what did you find? What were some ha-has?
My favorite is this running joke of Luffy's interpretation of fishmen.
The drawings, right?
The drawings are so good, and I think it heightens in such a good way. His fishman starts on 4s, and then it's standing now, and then when Sanji talks about Nami as a fish person, he just draws hair and adds the word Nami to his drawing.
Oh, wait, and this could be, you know what? I'm doubling down. Nami's a fish person.
Wait, is that
we have it in a drawing. You don't do that if your character's not a fish person. This would be great because this would pay off Luffy's drawing. It would be like he drew Nami the most correct as possible.
I'm writing it down as a tinfoil.
Yes, this is gonna be great. It's so good. Even though the gills, maybe they're just a little bit lower underneath the sleeves. Even though I think she may have had a sleeveless outfit on. Yeah, she did have a sleeveless outfit. I'm making bad predictions, but that's okay.
So I love that little joke. I will say though, and this is just a little throwing out there, I like this joke for a lot of reasons because Luffy ends up not being super wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
You mean in regards to dealing with the fish people? Like, there's fish people involved, right?
There's a really cool payoff. I'm going to say this now because by the time we get to it, you're probably not going to remember. But this drawing he makes actually comes back about, like, 700 chapters in the future.
Oh, my gosh. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Nope, I won't remember. I was going to say.
It's probably my favorite long-term joke that he does.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, well, you heard it here first. Tune in 700 chapters from now when I'm 50 years old. I'm just kidding.
At least 40.
Very cool. At least 40.
Yeah, dude. What about you? Do you have another one, or are we good with?
There was some throughout. I don't think did I write any more down specifically? The sled. No, I had the I just in general the vibe that Luffy doesn't take danger seriously.
Yes.
Have you heard a word I've said? We got some fish people. You got this one dude. He's just very content to plow to his goal, and I really like that. Find it always a bit. Oh no. Meat on a bone is what Luffy wants to eat.
Oh yes.
Just like what else would a young lad Luffy want to eat? Meat on a bone.
Exactly.
That'll be my last one.
That's all it is.
But I do have a question. Have you ever had stir-fried bean sprouts?
Not in the way that Sanji must do it in such a cool way because they're like.
Well, yeah, no, it seems like just stir-fried bean sprouts. It's not like that's the spread on which something is served. So I gotta try that because I like bean sprouts.
Me too, dude.
So I'm gonna stir-fry some of those.
I'm very pro bean sprouts. Should we fight? Should we do some battles?
We should fight.
Yeah.
We should fight. We should boom, throw some punches, duck and weave. Panel battle. This is the section of the podcast where Eric and I pick our favorite panels. We put them head to head. We put them side to side, top to bottom, left to right, right to left. We are reading right to left though, just in case if you've been reading left to right, you've been doing it wrong.
We have them trained for 8 months to prepare to fight at the MGM. We put them into a ring and we bet on it.
Boom.
But then at one point, I'm gonna bet against my own panel because I'm a greedy manager and it was always about the money for me. We weren't familiar.
Dagnabbit. And as greedy managers, you know what we also do? We even just we let other people get their panels and they come bring them to our arena. We encourage you to write in at grandlinetourist@gmail.com. Are they still there? I haven't said it in a while. Grandlinetourist. Yeah, at gmail.com. That's the one. You send in your panel there. Get it ahead of time. If you're late, that's fine too. We'll talk about what you picked in the following weeks. And today it's super exciting because we actually have 2 panel battle submissions in addition to the 2 that we have. And I don't know. Do you think we should let them take the first punches before we get in? I kind of.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so we'll start with the man himself, our good friend and multiple writer inner, Christian. Ooh. Christian sends in his email. He says, "I can't believe it. We've made it to Arlong Park. Strap in, tourists.
Arlong Park.
This is it." Which is super cool to say because that's true. Like this is a very big defining arc for a lot of One Piece fans, I think.
All right.
Too many good panels in this chapter. Many I expect to be my favorite panels, such as Arlong's reveal, Hakachan's reveal, and even Arlong Park's reveal. But I think the most interesting and best panel is the reveal of Nami's tattoo and her new nameplate, Arlong Pirates Crew Officer Nami. That was shocking.
Shocking indeed. Yeah. No, it's like okay, you're putting a stamp on the betrayal, right? Like you can kind of it's like it's a way because those aren't in the story, right? There's a lot of things that are being said and those are actual bubbles, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of sounds that are being made. These are like direct commentary from the author. You know what I mean? Like they exist only to tell truth. So
interesting. I will say just to double down on what you're kind of describing too. Nami's face isn't in her nameplate.
Yeah, it is interesting. No, so there's potential here to like learn a little bit about about what the like a way to interpret these, but in general, they tell the truth, right? Like I have no way to doubt that Officer Nami is not considered to be one of Arlong's pirate crew at this moment, right? Like it is in my mind.
Yeah.
That is the case, and we could see it with the actions. Like for some reason, the actions beforehand of her talking to Arlong don't matter to me as much as that nameplate. That nameplate cements it, right? And so that's why I think Christian picked it, because that is
Christian chose that is the
moment.
Very solid panel. That's a good punch, yes. Christian. It's a good right hook, Christian. You want to read this other submission from our new writer inner? Or no?
Oh yeah, no. Santiago's written in. We've definitely had Santiago comment, and I think maybe even an email as well. I lose track of it a little bit sometimes, but Santiago has said, "Hey, Eric and Jacob, I've decided to throw the first punch in we panel battle."
We should have read his first. Sorry, Santiago. We should have. The second punch now.
he's the very first second punch that we've had in a series of 4 punches. We've never had this before. I don't think we've had 2 write-ins for us. So on the same week, we got the reason I think this is the best panel is the excitement on Luffy's face. And so the panel that we see right here, they did a fantastic job of picking it out for us and putting it in the email. We have Luffy saying, "That's not what Chef Zeph told me. He said, for some people, the Grand Line is paradise." And so this is, kind of what I was talking about in my ha-has, just Luffy not taking danger seriously, right? He hears the Grand Line's paradise.
But it's also, this is Luffy, right? Like, he's excited by these challenges that are still before him. That's why he thinks it's paradise. Like, he knows, like, all these strong people are there, so it has to be a place where freedom really exists, where I can kind of, like, test my mantle, and I can kind of do what I want. Like, that's where they are. It's exciting. Like, I can see, like, why he thinks it's paradise.
No, and Santiago describes it as, the excitement on Luffy's face and the mystery of some people comparing what we know is the worst and scariest sea as paradise, right? And Luffy's just, smiling and excited about it. Also, it's a bit of a view into what Chef Zeph had seen and done as a pirate on the Grand Line. Can't wait for some more episodes to listen to. All right, and that's what hopefully we'll provide at the end of this, as long as, I don't mess up the edit or something.
It's all gone!
Oh no! You didn't push record. No, okay. Well, if that happens,
we're doing some Nami level deception here. Well, we're not really a podcast. We're just pretending to be a podcast, and then we'll change to a lesser known medium. Just radio. We're a radio show now.
Just radio. Just tune. Like, I'm gonna just broadcast it from my apartment. You got to be within a mile radius if you want to listen. It's gonna be tough.
All right.
That said, I'm gonna let you, Eric.
Boom. Too late.
Oh goodness! You didn't even let me. I was gonna offer it up, but you just took it from me regardless. Yes. What do we have here? We have Luffy. Wow, there are 6 more like him. The 7 warlords must be impressive. Wait, am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no. Wow, there are 6 more like him. The 7 warlords must be impressive. The problem is one of the 7 says Yosaku, right? Yeah, from the left side of the panel.
One
head
detail
down.
That I love so much that I had to choose this panel.
Is it the clapping of Luffy's sandals?
Yes!
Together?
He's clapping with his feet! What the hell?
And it's because he's excited, right? He's excited.
Yeah.
He's excited, So when Luffy's excited, he does like a little bit of a Pilates workout by putting his arms down, lifting his feet in the air, and clapping them. That is brilliant. That is amazing.
Yes.
I very much like this detail, because I didn't notice that. I noticed Luffy's excitement, and I could tell that, it was, brimming and bursting with excitement, but I didn't actually put together what was going on with the feet doing the clapping there.
Yeah.
That is lovely detail.
All right.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
One moment to poorly copy my panel. I'll sound like I'm slightly further away while I do this.
Slightly further away.
Check out the panel that I just threw right back at you.
Here it comes. Wow, is this why you had to clarify off mic that?
Oh, not only are we gonna clarify it off mic, I don't look at your panel submissions for your favorite panel until I have selected my own. There are other, podcast co-hosts of mine that don't take the panel battle selection process as seriously as I do, and it influences their decision whether they think it does or doesn't. But I picked this panel long before.
One time, but I just gotta describe it. Jacob chose the Nami nameplate, the new Nami nameplate. Same thing as our boy Christian.
Because we know what's up.
You chose the same one, which is great, because this is an important key panel, I would say, for most of One Piece at this moment. Yeah,
and I like it because I'm with Christian. Like, I mean, the Nami tattoo part of it, that's there. It has to be, right? It's the nameplate. That nameplate is just, it's scary. Having facts confirmed in this way is exciting.
Yeah, you are thinking about the nameplate in such a fun way, which I think gives it a lot of power, which it should.
Yeah,
right.
no, well, it does, because it's weird. This is I don't think we have, I think there's very few panels that say we have locations. I think in this chapter we have some that say this is Arlong Park. It says Arlong Park, and we know that that's Arlong Park. There's no reason to doubt it, right? And if there is, that's actually a fun thing that Oda can do, right? He could, trick us into really being confused about things if he started to play with these nameplates. But right now, this is a stamp of certitude.
Yeah.
It's wild.
All right, we gotta go. Can we do? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if you checked out the SBS corner, right?
Uh-huh.
And did you not see that there's a full song written from one of the old SBS listeners? Someone who
I do.
We have listeners
to
our
a
podcast.
Listener from I think from China, because they say ni hao.
Yeah, no, I was I don't know. It's only 2 verses long. I think we sing the song as an outro right here. And would you like to establish a tune, or would you like for me to establish the tune?
Why don't you establish it, and then I'll take the second verse.
All right. Okay. So it'll be fun, because then you can see how much can you really take the beautiful melody that I'm going to develop on the spot here, and string it into that second verse.
I got
all
you.
right.
I got my musical ears on. Let's do it.
Here we go. Gum, 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 yay. I am a gum person, or a rubber man. Gum, 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 yahoo, la, 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 ooh.
Gum, 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 gum stretch. I'm the king of pirates. I'm amazing. Gum, 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 gum. Gum, 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 gum. Amen. It's more of a prayer now, it sounds like.